what we've got here is failure to communicate.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.
We are going to go over 3 main fights in the card at the end. But first, I get to talk to the man. There he is. Now, this is a face that some of you, when I say Kru Alin, some of you may not know. But when you look at that face, you probably do. You recognize his face from inside the UFC octagon many times, and many other octagons and cages, and many Muay Thai events, and you have had your hand in a lot of success and a lot of careers, sir. So thank you for joining Don't Tap Podcast today, Kru Alin. Thank you for here.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Now, you have had some pretty crazy success recently with guys like Sheldon Campbell. That guy is a scary individual, and if he's not on the radar of people, then I'd love for you to talk about him in one moment. I mean, you go all the way far to the past, and you walking out. We were both in the same arena at one time. I was sitting up in the stands, and you were walking out with Claude Patrick in Toronto at UFC 129. You have Diana Belbita now. You have Mike Mallot. You have Kyle Nelson. Will Romero is somebody from Brampton, was always, a treasure from Brampton, one of the most vicious Muay Thai practitioners that there is in Bellator. Former fighters, Adrian Wooley. Like, I could go on forever, and I could just sit here and list the names, and we could just do that for the podcast. But I'd rather hear you talk. Sir, how has it been down at the club? And I know that you're getting Mallot ready, you're getting Belbita ready. Contrary to popularity, Mallot does not always go up to alpha male. He's training at House of Champions with Kru Alin, and he's hitting those mitts as hard as freaking possible. So, sir, speak to what's going on at the gym right now, and thank you for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Like I said, I know Mike since he was very young, and so with Shane Campbell and they started at my gym when they were young, very young. So Shane was 16, I think Mike was 15 or 16, and but yeah, the gym it's always busy, and I'm very excited that I act as a coach and manager for Kyle and also other fighters and that train with me, because when I started in a sport, there was not as many managers, so I was wearing both hats, and I kind of got used to it, and then it was kind of easier for me to do both, and I'm just excited that we signed Kyle. We signed a contract, and then he has a fight coming, and I'm not gonna give you guys the news where and what. I let the UFC do that, but I'll give you a hint if you want later where the fight is gonna be. But yeah, he's starting camp, and so we're excited to have him do that. And then Mikey had an outstanding debut in the UFC, and he put a lot of years and a lot of work into it. A true martial artist, and he loves the sport as much as I do. And he embraces it, and his approach to it. And I encourage him when he finished university to go to Team Alpha to open his eye, to be exposed to the highest level, and he did it. And I was very good coach as well, and he understands the process, and I think that helped him a lot in his journey. Right, all journeys are so different, and we are all human beings. We are so different. And we have our personalities, and we have our strong points, and we have our weak points, and we're always going to try to improve. And I'm just very proud of this young man and woman from my community here that embrace the same passion and love for the sport that I had, and I have still. This sport is my life, and I'm going to do it till I die. So, but the gym is always busy, and we're always getting ready for another fight.
Now, I'm even looking at just as you're talking there, I'm just looking at some of the other fighters on your roster, and it's remarkable to see some of the lives that you've changed in ways that, and I mean, obviously I got to give credit to the fighter too, but they've become entrepreneurs. They have their own gyms. Like, I know Nelson has his own gym. I didn't mention Josh Hill. Josh Hill he's been absolutely amazing, man. He's helped me start to get this podcast going. He was the first fighter to really jump on here with a name, and he is a gentleman. He's a sweetheart, but he will knock your face off. So congrats to him again. We talked to him on his last big win, and if we look at the lineup that you have coming up, we have Diana Belbita. She is a monster. She gets there in the pocket and just lands, and she's willing to take a shot, but she's starting to land more and feel a lot more comfortable. You can see it in her last couple of outings. You can see that she's a lot more comfortable in the UFC cage, and she's starting to come into her own now. So speak to Diana Belbita. We're really excited to have her. Not necessarily representing her country, but representing Canada out there on the UFC stage. So speak to Diana Belbita.
Yeah. She's still young, right? So she moved here 3 years ago, and she's still young. But unfortunately, the last fight, I felt like many others. I'm always gonna be biased. I love my fighters to like a parent, like as a father, and but
She won that fight.
yeah, so that's what many people and many of my friends that are doing this in a business at the highest level thought the same. And it's heartbreaking when you put so much work and effort. And I was very proud of how she fought. I wish we address this problem with the judges in the sport, and we have more people knowledgeable sitting down there, because yeah, some people I think didn't understand the effect that her body shots and her low kicks had on her opponent.
100%.
Yeah, and then but it is what it is. The life goes on, and then we are gonna have ups and downs. That's just how it is. I was talking to a younger coach, and I just told him, because he asked me to give him a few words of advice, and I just told him, take the good with the bad with the good, and move forward. And this sport teach us that. Like my sport, Thai boxing, teach me to move forward, and to every time I fell down, I had to get back up and continue to chase my dreams. And I try to inspire my fighters to do the same. I want them to be humble, work hard, and continue chasing their dreams. And the journey, it's to get to the top. It's grueling, and you're gonna have a lot of bumps and bruises and hurt feelings in your journey to the top. But the only option is to never give up and keep going at it.
Yeah, I mean, watching that fight, to go back to that fight with Diana Belbita, I mean, the new judge criteria, the way that they're talking about how they're looking at judging now, her fight doesn't fall into that category. She was landing strikes, damage in the legs. They don't give enough value to that, I think. Especially nowadays when people are being incapacitated with calf kicks. So it doesn't make sense to me. And, if it was a wrestling situation where she just grappled somebody and held them down for a period of time in this new concept of the criteria that we're going to look at the judges, then I'm with it. Because Holly Holm to me, and I don't want to rehash that because that was talked about so much, but she was landing some pretty good clinch strikes. So I'm confused by it still, but at least if they're going to go one way, and I mean, this is a gambling podcast, so we adjust our approach. Normally wrestlers are always a big, angle. And it's not anymore. If somebody's going to go to inflict damage, even with calf kicks, I'm still going to aim at putting my backing on that person, because they're going to land damage, and eventually judges are going to be looking at that versus, which it does make sense, but they're really not, evaluating wrestling. And then on top of that, they do need to get some better judging in there. They need to get some better judges, and there needs to be a system. You know all about that. I mean, you've been in the behind the scenes. You've been a cut man for, even the man, Glover Texeira. So for you, what do you think needs to be done as far as the judging? I know they want to do open scoring. I don't know if that's the play, but what do you think?
It's always the system, right? People don't look at the system, the way the system is set up. Like, look, the system, the global system today, I think it's wrong. It's just same with this. What does this boxing commission was set up in I don't know. I don't want to be wrong here, but I just read the book of. I have it here with me. Mark Radler, a man I look up to, the regulator that used to be the commissioner of Nevada, and then he started working for the UFC. So I just try to. I want to be accurate, but those commissions were set up probably in the 80s, right? They're not that old. And what happens with them? They were set up to regulate boxing. Boxing was the only combat sport, because the Muhammad Ali Act and people cheating, and they need to regulate the professional sport. You couldn't have people cheat anymore, and that's what they need to create a commission, a state-run commission, a province-run commission, in our case in Canada. And what happens is, with these commissions, is that the people that are on those commissions, some of them are there for 30, 40 years, and these people are boxers, boxing referees and judges, and like even if you look back, they used to be called the boxing commission. So the boxing commission, even some states in the United States today, they call like the Florida boxing commission. It's not like a Florida combat sports commission. It's like a boxing. So you have these people that come from boxing and they don't understand what a low kick does to a man or woman.
Yeah.
They don't understand wrestling at all, and and they've been on a commission for so long. And just because they got grandfather in this position, now there's more opportunities. They keep getting to sit on that chair and decide the fate of a fighter. But they basically many times they don't know what they're watching. So until we have people judging MMA, the fighters that are being there that understand the sport, then we're gonna have these problems, right? So right off the bat, you look at the fight card, and when they announce the judges, you kind of know this guy is from boxing. This guy is gonna look for shots to the head, and he has no understanding of wrestling. He has no understanding of what a kick does to you or a knee does to you, right?
100%.
Now, if he was in the ring with me, so I can kick him once, then he will have a different respect for it. But those guys are all guys from the old days, and until they go away, we're gonna have these problems. Now, the boxing commissions, this is an easy fix. This is a very easy fix. I know how they run, and the easiest fix would be to put an announcement there that they want to hire MMA judges and make a course for it. Herb Dean is doing an amazing job running courses, and John McCartney as well. And they can coach, they can teach the criteria. They've been doing this from day one, and they understand it. And then they understand what's more important, what's gonna give the fighter. Because even last night I watched the Ultimate Fighter with Diana, and what happened, the fight was pretty close, and then I was just like, we were going back and forth, because when the fight is close, the criteria teens down to what really give it that round. If we go on a 10-9 system, which in North America is very popular, in Japan they scored the fights overall. So whoever did good in the last 30 seconds, he won the fight, because he had more stamina and he was winning. So if you lost the first part of the fight, it didn't matter as much. But in a 10-match score system, where you buy round, and I see many fighters now, they just strategically grind the round. They win the round to win the fight. It's not as fun to watch, but it's a system we have to work with, right? So that's the system we have to work with. It'll be nice to have people from the sport judging and refereeing, people that understand what it means to take a low kick, give a knee, an elbow strike, and then the takedowns. How hard it is to stop a takedown, and then you have a better system.
What it comes down to, they need to actually, like you were saying, get judges in there and get in the ring. Get in the cage, practice, go to these seminars, because if you don't know what a leg kick feels like, how the hell are you going to call it damage? Right? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think it needs to be adjusted. So you're right. Bringing in some new judging would definitely be a big deal. And then also on top of that, making some adjustments slowly. I mean, you can't make every change overnight, but making some adjustments would definitely go a long way. But what I would love to do is go over the 3 main fights for the weekend. Some seem to be pretty black and white, some others not. But when we go through it, we'll start from the top. Okay, so we got Glover Texeira against Yuri Prochazka. We have the seasoned vet who we had all written off, and I had even written off in his last fight. Don't know why I did, obviously. Comes in as a striker initially. Comes in as a guy who's a phenom, has visa issues, moves to Connecticut eventually, and becomes this grappler after leaving Brazil, and is known for his grappling. His clinch game is dirty. His dirty box is one of the best there is, and is the dog. For me, I got an issue with that. So If there was something that showed me that Glover should be a dog, then sure. But when you have Prochazka coming up, it's I'm not going to say it's all hype because the guy is uberly talented, amazingly talented. The striking is so awesome. But the biggest mistake I could see him making is coming in and trying to put Glover out right away. I think if he goes too hot on his takes early in that first round, Glover's going to catch him and take him down and submit him really quick. That being said, if Yuri comes in and touches Glover, there's been times when Glover's been hit multiple times that he starts to shell up a little bit. Now that's happened in some fights. It's not necessarily going to happen in this one, but that is his angle. I don't think that he's going to want to try to rush in and be too crazy on Glover because Glover's been around forever. He's a seasoned vet. And for me, running a gambling podcast, if I were to not take the champion who's fought almost everybody, whether it's win, lose, or draw, I'm going with Glover Texeira. I believe he's sitting at plus 180 or plus 190 right now. I'd love to hear your take on this fight. I know that I believe that you're corner man or cut man for Glover. Talk to me about this fight.
Yeah, so I work a few of his fights, not just I work a few. So I work with I worked the fight with Misha, and I worked the fight with Alawa, and I was his cutman for the fight, the last fight that he won the championship, the title. And I was having breakfast that morning with my friend Scott from Boston, another UFC cutman, and John Ackerman, Glover's longtime coach, and Chuck Liddell's coach. So we had breakfast, and I really believed in Glover for that fight. I knew that if he changes levels, it's going to be over. And that one you should have had me on for that one because your people will make some good money on that one. So now the one thing about Glover, like he has the ability to take a punch and he knows how to deal with adversity. Being around for so long, the other kid, the young guy, it's a wild man, and he's unpredictable. And for a fighter that's clean like Glover's technique is very clean, so he understands cleanness. He can play with you if you come orthodox. The trick with the young guy, he's very unorthodox and wild, and but he's a true martial artist too. Like his highlights are crazy, right? He's a big man, a strong man. So look, I always tell my friends, look, I'll tell you when to bet if I know that I can give you like a 60 to 40 at least. But this fight, I'm telling you, it's a flip of a coin. I think it's a 50-50. I don't know how they have the young man as a favorite, right? And it's weird, but I believe that, Glover has the IQ. He got the eye. The way he throws the left hook, which is a deceiving punch, because if you know how to set it up, it's hard for you to see it. And the young man will not see it if Glover engages in his good combo, like the right hand hook that he lands on people. The young man is not going to see it. And when Glover hits, he snaps the punches. So he's heavy-handed. And once he hits the floor, Glover always had good jiu-jitsu, right? So he's a solid blanket. When he gets on top, his game is tight. Yeah. Like I see, like when he fought, our Canadian boy Misha, like you can see that because Misha is amazing at jiu-jitsu. Like he's a world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, and Glover when he got on there, he was tight. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think it's a flip of a coin here. I think this is a 50-50. I don't think that the young man is the favorite. So we'll see what happens.
And so you hear it here. You have somebody who has the fight knowledge of anybody in the game saying that it's a pick'em. If it's a pick'em and the champion is the dog and the champion has 3 paths to victory, I don't think this is a case where you could have a wrestler laying on top of somebody. Say if it went this way. Say Glover lays on top of him for 5 rounds to some degree. Yuri's not going to be able to get off his back enough to create any damage on Glover if it went 5 rounds. It's not going to. But so if you actually think that there's a path for Yuri to win decision, it's just not going to happen. He's not going to – if he inflicts damage enough, it's going to be over and that's it, or he's going to lose. There's no other way. So it's KO or bust, I think, from Yuri. That's your play on Yuri if you're going to touch it sprinkling. And Glover has 3 paths to victory. He could win by decision. He could win by knockout, catching him while he melees in with some of his crazy stuff and just throw a tight uppercut. He could take him down, which is the likelihood. So for me, I mean, I would take Glover likely either potentially Probably KO or submission, man. I don't think this is going to decision. The under 3.5 is a decent look too, but yeah, Glover Texeira all day. I'm with you on this. I know you're saying pick 'em, but I think with the line the way it's aligned, it's a little disrespectful. But it's all right. We can take advantage of it. Moving on to the next fight on the card. Sorry, go on.
No, I say yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're a gambling man, yeah, for sure. Too good. If they put the champ, and he fought, you know, he fought some tough competitions, no doubt about that. So, yeah, I'm with you on that.
And we'll jump into, because I want you to spend a little bit more time on this one. We're going to go right to Weili Zhang and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I am so excited for this fight, my friend. The 5-round fight that happened last time, we could go back and forth on who won that fight. I mean, Joanna's face was not looking so hot at the end of that one, but that was not just for women's MMA. That for MMA, that was one of the best fights of all time, I think. How do you see this one going? We have a former champion. There is 2 years off. There's talks. Well, she's moved on to other things. She's doing, Instagram and she's, had surgeries and she's moving more to a glamorous type role. And maybe she doesn't forget about, or she's forgotten about fighting. Does anybody remember who the boogeyman is? Joanna Jędrzejczyk was the boogeyman when she first came in and scaring the hell out of people. And she is a monster. In 3 rounds, I know she normally gets a slow start going, but I think that she is going to come in and go to work. And if she's going to come in and go to work and take a good shot at winning this, I'm going to, once again, touch the dog money, especially with a former champion of the pedigree that she is. I believe she was sitting at like a plus 150. It could be changed by now at this point. But I just think toe-to-toe, these two match up very well. I wouldn't be surprised if you see somebody trying to take it to the ground, because at some point someone's going to take over on the feet. So this is one I really wanted your input and your knowledge on, because this is a striking smorgasbord. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so this fight here, what was the difference in the first fight? Weili, she sits better on her punches. She's a heavier hitter, right? And that was the big difference. That's why she won clearly that fight. And Joanna is so fast and quick, but just the way she blitzes fast, she can't sit on the punch as much as the Chinese fighter. But the way Lee, when she sits on the punch, she's a tank. And don't kid yourself. They both been exposed to high level jiu-jitsu and wrestling for the last years, right? Like 5 years. And I know Wei Li she has a jiu-jitsu coach with her every day. They're wrestling like the Chinese stand of wrestling. They're very hard to take down because the sport she grew up in, it's with takedowns and takedown defense. So they have that. She's been exposed to that since she was a kid. And so I think the ground will be 50-50. But again, if they're gonna play the same game like the first time, I see Wei Li coming on top just because she sits on the shots better. She has hard shots and just the way she's built like a little tank. When she sits on the punches and she throws kicks, they harder. And I love Joanna. Like, I'm telling you, people ask me now, people that don't know much about the sport, and when I'm social, right, they say that, what's my favorite fighter? And I'm telling you, it's Joanna and Wei Li. I love them both. They so clean technically, and the weight class makes them, they're so fast. And it's, and also you have to keep in mind these two count that they are the lowest weight class in the UFC, 116 pounds. So, it's the more you go up in weight classes, you're gonna see more damage, more KOs and stuff. So it's gonna just be an exciting fight. I mean, you can listen if somebody's not, it's an MMA fan and they don't tune in to watch them fight again, because like you said, I think that was one of the best fights in MMA for sure. Technical, amazing. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Wei Li on this one.
Yeah, if there's an over-under for amount of punches landed in the fight, I think that's probably the best angle anybody could take on this one. Because really, I'm more taking the dog shot. My head sort of does lean Wei Li. But either way, I'm just gonna more enjoy this fight than anything else. I don't really. I take the betting hat off on this one. I don't really care as much. I just want to sit down and with my popcorn and enjoy this one. So, next fight, which was the co-main event that I want you to touch on, and the reason why I left this one for last is because I think we all sort of know the angle of who's going to win, but it's more or less whenever somebody fights Shevchenko at this point, we got to say, how? How can Talia Santos do it? Is she the one? And if she is, what does she do? Because no one's going to know better than you to understand the stand-up and the footwork and the mastery that it is that woman that it's just, bar none, I just don't know anybody else who has footwork like that. You can't get in on a leg kick on her. You can't. There's not much to do to her. You can't. She's almost untouchable. And I know that you say that, and then eventually someone touches her. Talia Santos is going to have to crash the pocket. This is, in my opinion, I'm more of a spectator at this point, right? I think she just has to go for broke, and either she's going to get knocked out or she's going to knock her out, and that's it. I don't know if there's much more of a game plan. I don't know if she tries too much of a game plan, she's just going to work herself into Shevchenko's game plan. What are your takes on this, your thoughts on this, the matchup? Obviously, we have someone who's a little bit more of a superior striker, but how you take it?
So the way I can look at this is this: like Talia fought Muay Thai as well, but obviously Shevchenko fought at the highest level, and she was multiple-time world champ. So she fought some very, very tough competition. And in Brazil, being a female in a sport, probably Talia's competition was not as worthy in the beginning when she started, because she is a Thai boxer, and her Muay Thai is good. Now, if you look at the way they set up things, because in a sport, I always tell my students, you have to keep practicing your craft. If you stop doing it daily, you're not going to be as fast, you're not going to be as explosive, and it's going to fade away. This is not like reading a book. Okay, I got the knowledge now. I can have this knowledge forever. No, it's not like that. The muscle memory has to stay with it. You have to keep grinding, and you have to stay on it. So is Shevchenko at the high level she used to be when she's doing only Muay Thai. Now she has to wrestle. Now she has to address the jiu-jitsu, because Talia's jiu-jitsu is tight. It's tight. You saw what she did in the last fight with Roxanne. And Roxanne is a high-level jiu-jitsu practitioner. So I can say this one, that Talia has the edge on the ground. And Shevchenko did really good against Nunes, right? But Talia is coming up. It's hungry. She got the pedigree. She's a worthy challenger, I believe. And I think she has enough stand-up to hold her own with Shevchenko. And I think that even if you watch her takedowns when she fought Roberts, like her body lock is tight, and she's good. She's good on the ground. So I think she's a really, really. I don't know what's the line on this, Colin. What are the pundits saying?
I think she, last I looked, was like plus 450 or something. Shevchenko's sitting at like, I could be wrong. Someone could correct me, but we're sitting. I stopped looking at the line because
this is a fight that definitely, you can. She is definitely a worthy challenger, and he's going to be a fight. I mean, if she plays a game plan right, if she takes advantage of where I think she's stronger, then you're gonna do. I think she's gonna do good, and it's gonna be interesting, because the other fights that Shevchenko had, she was a clear. She had so much more advantage, but this fight, you'll be surprised. Like the jiu-jitsu, and when Talia closes the distance, just look at her body lock. They're tight. She knows what she's doing there, and I think that's gonna be a problem from Shevchenko. So we'll see what happens, but I think it's closer than that. I think the guys, again, that's a closer fight. I think she's the best challenger in that Shevchenko fought so far, by far, I think.
Yeah, Shevchenko is sitting roughly around minus 550 to about minus 700 at this point.
Wow. It's a little bit one to put some money on.
That's a little bit more respect, actually, because usually she's sitting at like a minus 1200 or minus like 900. So, but you heard it here. So I'm not saying that that Kru said that Talia Santos is going to win, but he did give you a path to victory. Sure, there could be, she gets her to the ground, there could be a TKO potentially, but if she were to ever beat Shevchenko, he's saying potentially submission. So
I think she has the box play. Like her game on the ground is tight, so that's what I'm saying. Now it's a fight, it's a 50-50 fight no matter. The Shevchenko is the champ, then she's fast, she's strong, she's a bull in a clinch as well. But I think that from all the challengers she had before, this is the most worthy one. because I think the Talia has she's tight in the clinch. I mean, to do what she did to some good jiu-jitsu practitioners like Roberts and Mondafieri, those girls are good. So that's pretty impressive. Nobody did that to them before. So for her to do that, and now she's coming into this title fight. Of course, she's highly motivated. She went 50-0. She's legit. She is legit. And just because she didn't, I think that because she doesn't have as much notoriety in UFC, and people don't know her, the money is going the other direction high. But I think this is a legitimate title fight, and I think that it's going to be the biggest challenge she had at 115 so far for Valentina.
Okay, you're giving me more confidence in her. I mean, I felt that Talia Santos, from my outside view, and obviously my eye is not as good as yours, but watching her, I felt like, one or two more fights and she really would be a solid contender. But even still, I mean, if there's things that you're seeing and things that and yeah, her body lock is pretty crazy. And like I said, I'm not saying Cruz said that Talia Santos is going to win. He's saying she has a pretty good shot as far as that compared to some other people. But for you bettors that like to think outside the box and get a little crazy, instead of sprinkling the submission, here's what you do. If you have a parlay, put Shevchenko at the top of your parlay, and then rate as it gets all the way to the end, hedge out with inside the distance Santos. That way you have yourself covered. But yeah, I mean, Shevchenko, someone's going to eventually do it. Someone has to do it, or she's going to move up and someone might do it. So we'll see how that rolls. For you, I know that you have some more fights coming up. The one thing that I want to leave on to, and I wanted to highlight and talk about Mike Mallot a little bit more. A lot of people are confused about Team Alpha Male, and I know that he's out there a lot, but a lot of people, even leading into his last fight, they were like, oh yeah, this is a guy who has some good submissions, because they just went ignorantly off of his quick submissions that he gets in some fights and his guillotines and his neck submissions. And then I'm watching you training him every day, and he's hitting the mitts harder and harder. Combinations are getting crisper and crisper, but money's coming in on the other guy in the last fight, and I'm like, okay, I'm going in on Mallot, and he's gonna knock him out. Like, he's leaps and bounds ahead of him. Well, thank you. Because man, I just didn't see it any other way. Mickey just played right into his hands. I knew that's exactly what was going to happen. And what a combination. I mean, that right there, if there's an NFT or a highlight reel for yourself, I mean, even if Mallot stopped fighting right now, that right there is almost a belt. That highlight reel right there at the UFC level is absolutely beautiful. Speak to Mike Mallot, his future and his upcoming belt.
Well, look, Mike is a martial artist. He's been doing it for all his life. He come home, he wanted to do the training camp here. And, he's doing the striking with me. He's going to Niagara Falls and works the wrestling there with Chris Prickett, and then he does his jiu-jitsu with Andre at Oros BJJ. So he's doing his stuff here, but his journey and the time he spent at Alpha Male, of course, he expose him to the highest level. He cornered himself 26 fighters in a year, so 26 different fights. So he has that knowledge, and then he come back home. He feels comfortable here, and like the journey is. The journey is, it's about how you feel mentally, spiritually, and then physically. So, he feels home, he feels good, and, just waiting for the call to ring and get another fight. And we were really hoping that UFC is going to come to Toronto, and those were the talks and the rumors. But I guess it didn't happen for certain reasons, and 2022 we're not going to have a Canadian show, but that's what we were hoping. But he has his manager dealing with these fights, and he'll step back in there soon. And he's he's a complete fighter. I think he has a bright future because he's a student of the game, loves to keep improving, and just like myself, I am also a student of the game. Don't get me wrong. I coach for 25 years, but I still like to learn. I'm still a student. I still, I'm blessed. I'm blessed because I'm circled at the highest level with the best coaches in the world around me, and I learn from every situation I can. And even you'll be surprised. You go to an event where the new coaches come and they bring their students and you catch something there. You're like, wow, I like how you put that. So, that's the journey of a martial artist, to be honest.
And I wanted to also give congrats to Kyle Nelson. I know that he just signed his multi-fight deal. He's got his gym up in Muskoka. He's doing absolutely amazing. So, I mean, there's no better. I mean, forget belts or trophies. Just helping people thrive and their families grow, and helping people make money and do whatever they can. It's just that's the best part about mixed martial arts and things I've been able to see and having friends that own gyms and touching lives. But yes, the pandemic did close a lot of doors, but I as you were saying, I am noticing that there's now like even teammates coming together now because maybe the money isn't there for one person to do it. So now two guys are going in on a gym, or families are going in on a gym and getting things going again, and we're seeing a regrowth. But man, right now, House of Champions and Niagara Top Team, that is really the hotbed for Ontario. That is where the fire's coming out of. And it wasn't necessarily that case before. It used to be out in London a lot more. There's a lot more fighters coming out of London, Ontario, and now it's the Niagara region, Stony Creek, and pretty happy to see that happening. And I love to be able to come down to the gym and chop it up with you guys some more, get some footage on the fighters and see what's going on down there. One thing I wanted for the viewers, just for the betting, we have Jack Maddalena against Amiv. That is our most solid play. Maddalena is going to annihilate Amiv. That is just 100% how it's going to go. And look for Edwards against Mona in the first fight of the night. Edwards' striking is far more superior. She's going to be able to stay on the feet with her length. And that is going to be a lock, in my opinion. I think Edwards is going to roll on her. Any other fights or any other fighters that you wanted to talk about, sir, or even on the card that you wanted to talk about?
No, just, thanks for having me. Have to go to the gym now. But yeah, like you said, Kyle, he's a martial arts like a real martial artist. He's going to also, I think, embrace it just like I did from the ring to his family to the business he started. And he's re-signed. Dana White loves his style because he fights hard. He comes forward, and he's gonna be do or die. And he's an exciting fighter, and I love him, and I'm proud of him, of course. Like I'm proud of all my fighters. And just he's gonna fight soon. I can't tell you guys more than that. Check out the thing. He's gonna fight
I'll be
soon
bugging you.
in a raining place. He's gonna fight somewhere where it rains a lot, and he's gonna represent again himself, the gym. And the family and the country that I'm so proud to be part of and a citizen of, and also Diana, yeah, she's growing and she's hitting harder every day, and this girl trains every day. This is her life, and I'm just very proud of all of them, and I'm also very proud of all the people that come to my gym to get in shape and embrace the life and the martial arts, and they support me and my gym and my fighters, because without them we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So I'm very thankful to my community, and I'm very thankful to all my students. They are amazing, and I'm blessed, to live in Stony Creek, Ontario, and I'm blessed to have been circled by all these people. And thank you again for having me. Okay.
Well, Stony Creek is grateful to have you in the community, sir. Thank you again for jumping on, and look forward to talking to you in the future and talking to some of the fighters as well.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Hey, I'm UFC President Dana White, and you're in the ring with Callum McGregor.